Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Check it, guys. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Okay. Right, sir. Right, sir. Good. That's fine. And check it what we completed in the last session. So I think so. We are discussing about exception handling and exceptions basics. I'm discussing there. Right. Inside these exceptions and all these basics, just I given some clarity regarding this content here, like which concepts there. Right, sir. What is an exception and what exactly the meaning of exception? What is the requirement to go for exceptional handling? Then in how many ways we are able to handle these exceptions? All this basic introduction part here are given. Good. Right, sir. And one small information, guys. All of you observe this clearly. See, one thing I'm telling to you, 7:30 to 8:30 is our class timing. Sure, right? No changes on this timing. This is fixed timing. 7:30 to 8:30 is a class timing. But I'm telling to you, in one or two situations, I may start the class maybe at 7:05 or maybe at 7, sorry, and 7:30 or maybe at 7 now, 40, like this. Or maybe in some situations, I may start the class. So because of that reason, we should not feel anything bad about it. And we should not like send any message to me also regarding that. Maybe at 8:30, I have to stop the class. In some situations, if the topic is not completed, maybe I may extend the class like 8:30 or 8:30 or 8:40 also. Maybe that's a little bit variation is going on. The problem is which one, and might be directly you are coming to the class maybe at 7:30 directly. Where we don't have any classes there before that, maybe max. But majority of you are having core Java class that I know. And but my situation is like which one here, how to come for this class after completion of the 6 o'clock class. 6 to 7, that is the class timing there. Maybe 7:30, maybe in some situations 7:35, 7:30, might be 7:40 also, maybe it may take some time in some situations, depending on the concept. So because of that reason, I should not send like which one, so it's already too late and try to start class on time and you're not regular, sir, you're not punctual, sir. So first of all, leave all these things. Come on, put concentration on subject, put concentration on our content. That will be good. Finally, we have to discuss the content. I have to complete our total part, and we have to complete the content here. Then we need to have both coordination. Right? Because of 5 minutes or 10 minutes delay, if you're pointing like this, what will happen? Understand it now. So yesterday is a Sunday. Then we can take holiday also, but still we have worked on it. And we had some session also. We have already seen some topics there, grammar classes and all. Why I'm giving this kind of opportunity now? If I'm thinking strictly. And moreover, why I'm discussing about this basic part, this prerequisite part. Why I'm not starting directly advanced Java, this is directly first convert JDBC. What is the requirement for me to talk about all these things? If you're unable to bear 5 minutes delay. Huh? Do you think about it? It's a waste of time. Don't you think about it's a waste of time discussing about this core Java topics? No. Huh? Don't you think about it's a waste of time for you? Yeah. Huh? Think about it. What is the requirement to discuss about this core Java topics? No. Say just I'm giving clarity to you. I'm giving clarity to you, right? So don't think much about it. Then put concentration on our subject. That's the final thing, right? Understand it? And moreover, then one more thing I'm telling to you guys, and my schedules I'm telling to you, just listen. My schedules nearly like which one there, and 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1. Then after that, 2 hours break, lunch break. Then again, how to start? 3 to 4. Next one is a 4 to 5, 5 to 6. Next one is after that 6 to 7:30. Then after that 7:30 to 8:30. Next one is 8:30 to 9:30. This is total schedule, guys. So definitely, in because of this much of schedule, it may take might be in 1 or 2 situations. Some gap is going on. Definitely 5 to 10 minutes delay is going on. You have to adjust for it. Yeah. And moreover, and this ending time maybe it may take might be 5 to 10 minutes delay also for me. Even after 9:30 in some situation, 8:30 to 9:30 hibernate batch people are attending class at 10 o'clock in some situations, or maybe 10:30 also in 1 or 2 situations. So that was situation here. Don't think much about it. Support concentration on our subject. That's right. Right, yes. Good. I'll do this one. All of you know. Right, sir. Then just I'm giving one time clarity, yes. Then it's not at all important. It's just information I'm passing there. So my final point is which one? Instead of regular and punctuality, just leave all these things. Words they're against to me. I'm giving clarity, much clarity here itself. No, I'm not at all regular. I'm not at all punctual. Just little bit differences are going on. I'm able to provide for it. Leave it. Now coming to the concepts here. So tell me, guys, all of you now tell me what is an exception? Right, sir. What is an exception? Please, all of you respond for me. What is an exception? Now tell me. Exception is an unexpected event occurred at runtime, causes abnormal termination to the applications. Good. Unexpected event occurred at runtime, causes abnormal termination to the applications. This is the meaning of like which one can know exception. All of you observe this clearly. Next one is after completion of this particular point here, abnormal terminations of the applications. Abnormal terminations of the applications. Abnormal terminations of the applications may cause a number of serious problems. They may corrupt the local operating system, and they may provide hangout situation to the like which one here, network applications. And if it is database related application, automatically the database may be totally collapsed. If it is server side application, the server side application may be the server may be shut down, the server may be down. So these many serious problems here we are able to get. These many serious problems here we are able to get. All of you observe this clearly now. These many serious problems here we are able to get. So to avoid these problems, we have to handle exceptions properly. To handle exceptions properly, we have to go for exception handling mechanisms. That's okay, fine. Next one is in our applications, 2 types of terminations are available. One is a smooth termination, and other one is like which one? Abnormal termination. What is smooth termination? If the program is terminated at the end of the program, that is called a smooth termination. And abnormal termination is which one? If you terminate the program in the middle, if the program is terminated in the middle of the program execution, then it is called as like which one? Abnormal termination. That's what we got. Now tell me, how many approaches are available to handle these exceptions? No, 2 approaches are available by using throws keyword and by using try catch final leave. Alright, good. And before this, what is this another point that I'm telling you? Before this point, no. Right, sir. Some exceptions categories are available. We have to understand there are 2 types of exceptions. What are the 2 types of exceptions now? First one is like which one? Checked exception. And the second one is like which one here? Unchecked exception. Checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions. two types of exceptions are available: checked exceptions, and second one is like which one? Unchecked exceptions. Right, sir. Good. What is this checked exception and what is unchecked exception? Right, sir. What is checked exception and what is unchecked exception? Listen carefully. Checked exceptions are the exceptions which are recognized by the compiler. Checked exceptions are the exceptions which are recognized by the compiler, but not occurred at compilation time. Which are occurred at runtime only, but compiler will predict it. Compiler will identify that exceptions at compilation time, but real exception will occur at runtime. As all of you have to this clear. I can give some example also, but try to understand it clearly. For example, when I have written code, compiler will check each and every line of our code, whether these programming instructions are following Java rules and regulations or not. It will check each and every line. While checking each and every line, it will identify some situations to raise an exception, but still exception is not raised. But compiler will identify the situation by monitoring our code. Compiler will identify some situation to get an exception at runtime. Compiler will predict the situation. Definitely, the situation will raise an exception when we execute this program. The compiler will decide that. But still, exception is not coming. But compiler will guess 100% in this location, exception will come at runtime. So, such type of exceptions are called as which one? Checked exceptions. Time being, I'm telling to you what are these checked exceptions actually. Right, sir. Just simple examples. I'm telling to you, IO exception is one of the checked exception. Next one is like which one? File not found exception. Like this, number of examples are available. Not required to go for all these things. No. Next, unchecked exceptions. Which exceptions are not identified by the compiler, which are available at runtime only. Which exceptions are not identified by compiler, which are identified and which are occurred at runtime. Such type of exceptions are called as like which one? Unchecked exceptions. This is the point what I'm telling you. Checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions. Checked exceptions are the exceptions which are recognized by compiler at compilation time, but real exceptions will occur at runtime only. But these exceptions are predicted by compiler 100%. So they are called as which one? Checked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions are the exceptions which are not identified by the compiler, which are identified at runtime only. They are nothing but which one? Unchecked exception. Say for example, arithmetic exceptions, like null pointer exceptions, and so on. Right, so now this is what exactly the difference can we can identify, but much more we are going to discuss inside the course of content part here. All of you have to this clearly. I want to handle this exception by using throws keyword. In two ways we are able to handle the exceptions. I want to show the two ways here. First one is like which one? Throws keyword. By using throws keyword, what it able to do now? Throws keyword is able to bypass the generated exception from present method to caller method. Throws keyword is able to bypass the exception from present method to the caller method. Right, sir. Just I will show that example clearly. It able to bypass the exception from present method to the caller of that method. Which method is calling this present method to that method, it able to bypass the exception. Now let's observe this clearly. I'll take one simple example, guys. I want to use edit plus. Because if I use edit plus, I'm able to show perfectly that point. No, I'm able to use edit plus. Right. All of you observe this clearly. Say for example, let me take one Java file, new Java. Now I'll take now class A. Inside this class A, I want to take void add method. Inside this add method, I want to call conjugate method. Something else. Void conjugate method here I will call. Right, so now all of you observe this clearly. By using throws keyword, throws is available and throw is available again. All of you observe this clearly now. Throw keyword and throws keyword. This is also one of the questions, sir. Throws keyword. throw keyword and throws keyword. What is the difference between throw keyword and throws keyword? Right, yes. Now, simple difference. Then after that, I will go for that program. Now, first understand this. Throw keyword and throws keyword. Throw keyword purpose is which one? It able to raise an exception. Throw keyword is able to raise an exception. Throws keyword is able to bypass the generated exception from present method to caller method. That's up to this clear now. Throw keyword, we can raise the exception. We can create the exception or we can raise the exception. Throw keyword is actually able to raise the exception. If you have any user defined exception, it's able to raise the exception. But close keyword is able to bypass the exception from present method to the caller method. That's the difference. Now let me take these points now. All right. Class A have taken void add method. Inside this add method, concat method will be called. Right. Inside this concat method, what we are providing actually to new IO exception is a checked exception or unchecked exception. Tell me all of you know. IO exception is checked exception or unchecked exception. Just now given information there. It's a checked exception, not unchecked exception. It's a checked exception. If it is checked exception, who will recognize this exception? Who will recognize this exception? Compiler or JVM? Who will recognize this exception, guys? Now tell me, compiler or JVM? Compiler only. Compiler only. Checked exceptions are recognized by compiler. Checked exceptions are recognized by compiler. Unchecked exceptions are recognized by JVM. Right, sir. Compiler will identify these exceptions. I will show that points exactly. Good. Class you have taken add method. Inside this add method, concat method we are calling. So inside this concat method, we raise this exception. I'll take this main class. Test class I will take now. Inside this main method, a small a is equal to new a. I want to take this object I created. Inside this object, what I will do now, I want to call a dot add method. Also this flow of execution also, guys, all of you know. We are calling a dot add method. So as per this flow of execution will come to add method, where inside this concat method we are calling flow will come to which one? Concat method, where we are getting an exception. That's okay, good. Tell me at which line we are raising this exception, sir. All of you know, tell me no. At which line we are raising this exception? Please now check this one. Line number is visible for us. At which line we are getting this exception? We are throwing that exception now. At line number 6, we are raising that exception. Now let me save this one. The drive and ADV 730 PM. Now get test.java. Right, now let me take this. I want to compile and execute this one. D:/CD Java 730 PM. That's okay, fine. Now get Java C space test.java. Compiled successfully. 1 minute. How to get an error here? I have an exception I've used there. Where I saved this one, D:/730 test.java. We have to get error now. Where it was saved here. Sorry. Right. Java C space test.java. Right. Cannot find symbol IO exception. Actually, IO exception is available in IO package. Import java.io.star. IO exception is available in java.io package. That's why here we imported this. Okay, fine. Now here we are able to get an exception. All of you after this clearly. Error exception deleted details here we are able to get. Now try to after this clearly. Tell me guys, at which line we are getting this exception now? 7th line. Now 7th line. Why 7th line? No, I added this import statement. Now exception is raised at which line now? 7th line. 7th line here we required. At 7th line we are getting this exception. All of you observe this clearly. So now inside this what I am providing here. error. Here we are getting throws. The unreported exception IO exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. So at throw new IO exception, my IO exception ID is at 7th line, we are getting it now. All of you observe this clearly. At 7th line, we are getting it. But my requirement is which one? At the 7th line. That means inside this concat method, I don't want to handle this exception. I want to bypass this exception to add method where I want to handle this exception. So I want to bypass this exception from concat method to caller of this concat method. Now tell me, sir, who calls this concat method? Who has called this concat method? Now tell me in this program, who access this concat method? Please check this one. Don't say main method blindly. Don't say main method blindly. Now just check this one. Concat method is called in which method? Add method. Concat method is called in which method? No, add method. So to this add method, I want to bypass this exception. To this add method, I want to bypass this exception. Now I don't want to handle inside this concat method. I want to bypass this exception to add method. The location where we call this concat method, to this location, I want to bypass this exception. If you want to bypass this exception to the caller method, simply in the present method prototype, we have to use like which one? Throws keyword we have to use. Along with throws keyword, we have to provide exception name. Which exception name here we have to provide along with this throws keyword? Which exception name we have to provide along with this throws keyword? That exception name should be either same as the generated exception or superclass of the generated exception. Either same as the generated exception or superclass of the generated exception. What is that same as the generated exception or IO exception? As is, I want to provide like which one IO exception. So what is going on there? The generated exception will be converted to IO exception. Already it is an IO exception, same as it will be converted to the specified exception. No? And this exception will be forwarded to which one? No, this concat method. Now tell me guys, at which line this concat method we are calling? At which line we are calling this concat method? Please give that line number. All of you know at which line we are getting this concat method call at line number 4. So now let me compile this. Let me compile this where we are going to get this exception after this clearly. Let me compile this now. Java C space test.java. Right, so now here we are getting an exception. Unreported exception, IO exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. Now tell me, sir, what is this exception here? We are getting a concat method call. At which line now? 4th line we are getting that exception now. At 4th line. But now here we are getting exception at which line? 4th line. But here also my requirement is which one? I don't want to handle this exception here itself. I don't want to handle this exception here. I don't want to handle this exception here. I want to bypass this exception from add method to add method caller. From add method to add method caller, I want to bypass this exception. Now tell me who is calling this add method? Who is calling this add method? Come on guys, now tell me no. Main method. Main method. At which line it is calling this add method? At which line it is calling add method? At which line main method is calling add method? At 15th line, add method call is identified. So I want to bypass exception from 4th line to 15th line. 4th line to 15th line. I want to bypass this exception. So to bypass this exception from 4th line to 15th line, in add method prototype, we have to provide throws keyword. Along with throws keyword, we have to specify either same as the generated exception or superclass of the generated exception. Now guys, now tell me at 4th line, which exception is available? Which exception is available at 4th line? Now tell me. Which exception is available at 4th line? IO exception is available. Why? Because the same. Along with throws keyword, which exception name here we provided, the same thing will be bypassed to this concat now. At 4th line, we are getting IO exception. So this exception I want to bypass. Either we have to use same IO exception or we have to use superclass of the IO exception. Superclass of the IO exception is which one? Exception. Superclass of the IO exception is which one? Exception. That exception class here we can bypass to like which one of respective content. Now let me check this clearly. We are able to compile and execute this Java C space tester.java. Now here we are getting compilation error. Where we are getting compilation error, sir? Now after this clearly now at 15th line we are getting compilation error. Exactly at 15th line here we are getting compilation error. What about this 15th line error here now? Unreported exception. Exception must be caught or declared to be thrown here. 15th line is like which one can now? Inside this main method. Where we are calling this add method, that line is like which one? 15th line. That should be good. Now my requirement is inside this main method also I don't want to handle this exception. Inside this main method also I don't want to handle this exception. But where we want to handle this exception, guys, all of you have to this clearly know. We want to handle this exception the caller of this main method. If you want to handle this exception at caller of the main method, we want to handle this exception at caller of the main method, then here what we have to do inside this main method prototype, no, we have to provide some exception name, throws some exception name. Already, which exception is available to this add method, guys? Now tell me, no. Which exception is available to this add method? Now tell me. At the 13th line, we are getting. At the 13th line, at which line we are getting? 15th line. I removed these two lines there. Anyway, no problem. Fine. At add method call, we are getting exception. Which exception is coming, sir? Here, which exception is available? Is the typo exception or exception? Please confirm to me. Is the typo exception or exception? A dot add method contains which exception? IO exception or normal exception? Throws exception. What we are getting now? Throws exception, not IO exception. No, exception. Originally IO exception, but that is converted to exception. That is converted to exception. That exception will come to which one? Add method call. So here we are getting exception. So if you want to handle this exception, if you want to bypass this exception to call up this main method, then we have to use either same as exception or superclass of the exception. And there is a superclass for exception. No, that exception. The superclass is which one? No, that superclass is like which one? Throwable. The superclass is which one? Throwable. Right, sir. Good. Sir, once again, I'm telling you up to this clearly. At the 7th line, IO exception is available. That is converted to IO exception. That will be bypassed to concat method. At concat method, we are getting IO exception. At concat method, we are getting like, IO exception. But throws exception we provided now. So IO exception will be converted to exception. Exception will be passed to this one. Add method call. Here, what we are having here, exception now. Why? Because this IO exception is converted to which one? Exception. That exception will be bypassed to this add method call. Understand it clearly what I'm telling you. Alright, so now this time what it is going on here? Why it is converted? This is throws keyword. Throws keyword may have either same exception class name or super class of the exception. So automatic conversion is going on. Internally it will be converted. Why it is converted in the sense that is not in our scope. That is available. That is available with the throws keyword. Throws keyword functionality is that conversion. So if that exception, that the specified exception is in super class of the generated exception, it will convert internally that generated exception to which one? Exception, and it will bypass that exception to the caller of this particular method. Now finally, a dot add method contains which one? No exception is available. Either we can use same as exception name, or we can use super class of this exception. In Java, there is a super class for this exception. That super class is like which one? Throwable. Guys, now tell me, guys, now tell me, all of you now tell me, who calls this main method? Who is calling this main method? Who is calling this main method? JVM is calling this main method. JVM is calling main method. So finally, this exception will be bypassed to the JVM or not? Exception will be bypassed to the JVM. Then what JVM is able to do? No, JVM will send that exception to its internal default exception handler. Inside the JVM, default exception handler is available. That exception will be bypassed to internal default exception handler. That internal default exception handler is able to display. Internal default exception handler is able to display that all exception details at all three locations. Three locations are which one? Original location, 7th line, 4th location, 4th line, and 13th line also. That exception details are going to be displayed by which one? No, default exception handler inside the JVM. That inside the JVM, default exception handler is able to handle this particular exception. Now let's observe this clearly. We will not get any exception message at our compilation time. Please recognize this. Java C space test.java. Right, sir. Now Java C space test.java. Now get no exception message is identified, but when we execute this, exception will be occurred. Exception will be identified at all three lines now. So first line is like which one? At 7th line. Next one is at 4th line. Which one is like which one? No, at 13th line we are getting this one. Guys, all of you observe this clearly. So why I'm telling you about this throws keyword here? All of you understand this clearly. Listen, all of you understand this now. This flow of execution, okay, fine. We are getting clarity, but what is the requirement to use this process now? See, in our Java program, we may use number of methods. In our Java program, we may use number of methods. Number of predefined methods we may use there. The predefined methods are having throws keyword as part of their prototype. Whenever this method is having throws keyword, say for example, concat method is having throws keyword. This method we called in add method. So what is the condition to add method? Definitely it is throwing some exception there. You must handle it either by using again throws keyword or by using try catch. Finally, we have to handle that exception which is thrown by concat method. Good. This is the point now. For example, if add method is having throws exception now, we are calling this add method inside the main method. A small a is equal to new a dot add method, we are calling this, then immediately what is the condition for this main method? No, because of this add method, some exception may be thrown to this location. So we must ready to be handle that particular exception. So for that purpose, either we have to use throws keyword or we have to use try catch finally. Otherwise, we are able to get compilation error. Sir, got my point or not? Otherwise, you are able to get which one? Compilation error. Guys, all of you are getting clarity about my explanation. Is my flow is very much fast, or is it okay for all of you know? The tempo, whatever the tempo I'm providing there, is it okay? Fine. Right, it's too good, sir. Fine. Good, good, good. Nowadays our RAM is 8 GB. Fine, fine, sir. Good, good. Anyway, it's okay, fine. Right. Up to this clear. And one more point I'm telling to you guys, maybe if it is a first class or second class for you, maybe to understand my slang and to understand my tempo, it will take 1 or 2 days of time. Once you are, might be 1 or 2 days of time, once you are in 1 or 2 days of time, if you listen my class now, automatically, you are habituated with my words. So easily we can understand. Right. I think so. For some of you, it's first class, right? Now you are already familiar with my terminology, right? And it may take 1 or 2 days of time, not to think much about it. Right. My voice is little different. How, sir? Right. My voice is sweet, right? No problem. Nothing, sir. Nothing about throwable. Throwable is super class to exception class. Throwable is a super class to exception class. That's it. Throwable is a super class to exception class. That's it. Exception is a super class to every exception class. But for exception class also, there is a super class that is which one? Throwable. That we can think of it as super of super. That's it. Not more than that. Fine, guys. Now this is the total awareness on like which one throws keyword. Anyway, one point I required from this totally. Right, sir. Guys, all of you observe this clearly. And one point I'm telling to all of you guys, now observe this clearly. What exactly the purpose of throws keyword? That's the point I required as of now. My point is which one? If any method inside the present method, if you use any method inside the present method, if it is throwing some exception with the throws keyword, that we have to be handled. So how we are going to handle that? Either by using throws keyword or by using try catch finally. This is one point. Or perfect if you want to understand it. No, throws keyword is able to bypass the exception from present method to the caller method of this present method. That's it. Good. Understand my point, guys? What I'm telling to you. Right? Just simple content is which one? So totally the point is which one? Avoid compilation errors. Yes, perfectly. Sudha ma'am. Perfectly. Your thinking is right. To avoid the compilation errors, we are going to use which one? Throws keyword. How we are able to avoid these compilation errors? No. Inside our present method, if we use any other methods which are throwing some exception, to bypass that exception to the caller of this, we are going to use which one? Throws keyword. Simply speaking, throws keyword can be used to bypass the exception from present method to the caller method. Good, sir. No. Then this is a chain process. If you are getting exception at concat method we have to use throws keyword. If you are getting an exception at like which one? Sorry, if you are getting exception inside this add method at add method here, we have to use the throws keyword. So definitely we have to use some throws keyword in the chain process like this. And at which method we are getting that exception, at that moment we are able to provide which one? Throws keyword. That's the point here. We have to recognize now. Right, sir. Good. Leave this content here. This is sufficient now. To move on to our JDBC classes, this point is sufficient. Now, coming to the next part. This is important, guys. This is very, very important for us. Now, coming to the next content. Try catch finally. All of you have to this clearly. Try catch finally. Right. Not possible to write objects, sir. Only throws only we are able to write. Even the object is a common default superclass. For throws also object as a superclass. Right, sir. We are unable to write object class where throws only. Why? Because object class is not having exceptions related information. Only throwable and what next one there no exception class are having exception handling related information. So object class is not having that. So we are unable to use that object class. We are able to use only like which one? Throws. And moreover, throws is mainly for checked exceptions. Throws is mainly for which one? Checked exceptions. Throws is mainly for checked exceptions. Why? Because at compilation we can see that. But internally it will work out for unchecked exceptions also. But we are unable to see that. But mainly for checked exception we can understand it. That's fine. That's fine. Then don't tag that one. That is sufficient now. Now coming to the next content. By using try catch finally. Understand it, guys. By using try catch finally. Right. Sir, I am asking one question to all of you now. Try to answer for it. All of you know. I'm asking one question now. Try to understand this clearly. Throws keyword, what it is doing, sir? Is it really handling that exception or simply bypassing exception to caller method of respective method? What it is doing now is simply bypassing exception to some other or handling exception really. It is not the really handling that exception. Not handling that exception. Simply if it delegates exception to caller method. That's it. Simply if it delegates exception to which one? Caller method. Really it is not handling that exception. Get my point or not? So I cannot say it is a real exception handler. Yes, I can say it is a skipping from responsibility. The throws keyword is mainly for which one? Skipping from responsibility. Skipping from handling responsibility. That's the point here we have to understand. But my requirement is which one? I want to handle that exception. I want to handle that exception. The location where it was generated. The location where it was generated, there I want to handle that exception. Handling that exception in the sense like which one? No, catch that exception, display exception message, and provide smooth termination. Not abnormal termination, providing smooth termination. So that I want to handle actually. So if you want to handle this exception, right, sir? If you want to handle this exception, then here what we have to do there, we have to go for like which one? Try catch finally. We have to use like which one? No, try catch finally that we have to provide. Guys, all of you observe this clearly. We have to use like which one? Try catch finally that we have to use. Then it's okay, fine. This is what exactly the point here I'm telling to you. We must use try catch finally. That's okay, guys. Good. But how we are able to use the try catch finally? That's my question. How we are able to use the try catch finally? What is the syntax we use try catch finally? Right. All of you observe this clearly, no? Right. Try catch finally syntax is like which one? So try block is available. Here we are having like which one? Set of finish sectors. Next one is like which one here? Catch block. Catch block. Right. Reference a variable of this exception. Next one is a finally block. Right. So two things are existed here. We have to understand it clearly. Try block is existed, and other one is like which one? Catch block. Right. Observe this clearly. Inside this try block, what we are able to provide, and inside this catch block, what we are able to provide. No? A set of intersections here we are providing. Inside this finally block also intersections. Listen carefully. Inside this try block, what we are going to provide. I'll give some clarity to you. Try block includes doubtful code. Doubtful code in the sense it may or may not raise an exception. Try block is going to include doubtful code. It may or may not raise the exception. But what is this doubtful code now? For example, I have a program. Inside my program, 100 lines of code is available in my program. But I'm sensible about line number 10, line number 12, line number 13, line number 14, 4 lines of code. I'm sensible about this particular 4 lines of code. Line number 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm thinking about it. These lines may raise an exception. Not 100 lines of code. There's only 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. These 5 lines of code. 10th line to 15th line, for example. These 5 lines of code may raise the exception. I'm thinking about it. As I'm the developer, as we are the developers, definitely we should know where exceptions may be possible. As you are the developer, we should identify at which location exceptions are going to be generated. At least we have to think about it. That automatically we have to understand that's your responsibility and that is your talent. So then immediately what I'm going to do now, I will not keep all 100 lines of code inside this try block. Among these underlines of code, which code is doubtful for us? That code we are going to keep inside which one? Try block. Guys, all of you up to this clear. Which code is doubtful for us to raise an exception? That code we are going to keep inside which one? Try block. This is one point. And another point I'm telling to you, there is no guarantee to raise an exception. There is no guarantee to raise an exception from try block. There is no guarantee to raise an exception from try block. Actually, my point here. Once you are keeping some code inside this try block, so we must raise an exception, sir. So if you are having any such kind of thing, then no such type of guarantee. Try block may raise the exception, may not raise the exception. If exception is available, definitely it will raise the exception. If exception is not available, it will not raise the exception. Please recognize this point. What I'm telling you. Right, so this is one point. Here we have to understand it. Okay, fine. But if exception is available, then what will happen? If exception is not available, what will happen? All of you have to this clearly. If you have exception, in try block, then JVM will bypass flow of execution. JVM will bypass flow of execution to catch block by skipping remaining instructions in try block. Understand this clearly now. If you have exception in try block, then JVM will bypass flow of execution to catch block by skipping remaining instructions in try block. Of course, internally it will create exception object. Internally will pass that exception object to the catch block. If you have any exception, then this is the case now. We have to observe this clearly. Next one is another point is which one? If no exception is identified, in try block, then JVM will bypass flow of execution to finally block. JVM will bypass flow of execution to finally block directly by skipping catch block at the end of try block. At the end of try block, flow of execution will be bypassed to finally block by skipping catch block. That means catch block will not be executed whenever exception is not available in the case of this try block. That's all of you have to this clearly what I'm telling you. So that diagrammatically I want to show this flow of execution. Now try to understand this clearly. All of you have to this clearly what I'm telling you. Flow of execution I'm telling you. Right, complete code I want to provide for our understanding purpose. Now try to observe this clearly. For example, I've taken some intersections here. So these are like which one before try. Next one is try. We provide it. Right, sir. Here we are providing like which one? Try catch. Exception E. Catch block. Finally block. I'll discuss about this catch and finally also. Now after this clearly. Here we provide it. Then after this finally also we are writing some intersections. Right, sir. All of you have to this clearly. Now this is like which one? No? Some code. This is one code. Now observe carefully. Here we are having exception. Here we have an exception. In the middle, inside this try block, at the middle line, we got an exception. So what is that flow of execution? Observe carefully. First, before exception will be executed, when it encounters try block will be executed. Inside this try block, at second line, we got an exception. Directly from this particular point onwards, flow of execution will come to which block? No, bypass it to catch block by skipping remaining intersections in try block. Third line inside the try block will not be executed. Moreover, how it able to bypass that exception? No, whenever exception is identified, internally it able to create one exception object. Exception object will be created internally. That exception object reference value will be passed as parameter 2, like which one E variable. It able to pass That exception object will be passed as parameter to E variable. Then immediately catch block will be executed. After executing this catch block, next immediately finally block will be executed. After executing this final block, immediately after finally also be executed. Now tell me guys, which intersections are not executed here in this flow of execution now? Which intersections are skipped here? Now tell me no. All the intersections are executed if you are having exception now. But which intersections are not executed in this overall flow? Any idea? Any idea? Which intersections are not executed in this flow? Right? Already we have seen that total catch block is executed, total finally block is executed, before after finally is executed, before try is executed. But inside the try block, all intersections are executed or not executed. Inside the try block, all intersections are executed or not executed. Not executed, not executed. Exactly one part is not executed. Which part is not executed? No, this part is not executed. This part is skipped. This part is not executed. That means after the exception, if I have any intersections in the remaining part of this try block, that intersections are not executed. Right, sir. Good. This is the point. But what is your talent now? If you are the right developer, as much as possible, we have to reduce number of intersections after this exception. That means if you are the right developer, you should reduce number of intersections after this exception. That means if you are the right developer, you should identify at which lines exception is going to be generated. Exact lines we have to keep inside the try block. That depends on your talent. That depends on your talent, which exception we are able to get. No, exact that intersections we are going to keep inside like which one try block. Then as much as possible, we have to reduce the number of intersections after that exception. Right, so that depends on your talent, how we are going to identify this. This is one thing. Okay, guys, that's fine. Now, all of you observe this clearly. Now, what is the next one I'm telling you? If you are having exception, what happened? Now, this is what we discussed here. For example, if you are not having exception, if no exception is available, right, sir? Yes, we can use another try block also. After this try block, another try block, or inside this try block, again try blocks, we can use that. Number of options are available, but not required for us. Now, observe this clearly. Now, present flow of execution is which one? We are not having any exception. We are not getting any exception here. Then how this flow of execution is executed? First try block, before try block, everything will be executed. Inside try block, also no exception is available and everything will be executed inside this try block. At the end of this try block, flow of execution is coming to which block? You know, finally block directly. Flow of execution is coming to which block? No, finally block. Finally block is executed. After this finally block, if you have any intersections, that intersections are also be executed. After this finally block, if you have any intersections, that intersections are also be executed. Come on, guys. Now tell me, in the second flow of execution, which intersections are skipped? Which intersections are skipped here now? Which intersections are skipped, sir? Catch block intersections are skipped. All right, catch block is not executing now. Right, if no exception is identified inside this try block, catch block will not be executed. Directly flow of execution will come to which one? Finally block. Finally block will be executed. After this finally block, if you have any intersections, that intersections are also be executed. Now in this scenario, which block is skipped, which block is not executed, in the sense these intersections are not going to be executed. Right, so now this part here we have to observe this. This part is not going to be executed. This is going to be skipped. Right, sir. Good. Come on, guys. I'm asking one question to all of you. Now try to answer for it. No. Right, sir. When catch block will be executed, sir? Now tell me. When a catch block will be executed, guys? All of you now tell me. When a catch block we are able to execute? Come on, guys. You have to give answer for it. When a catch block will be executed? When exceptions are raised inside the try block. Whenever an exception is raised inside the try block, then only catch block will be executed. If exceptions are not raised inside the try block, no, there is no chance to execute which one? Catch block. Is it clear or not? When exceptions are available inside the try block, automatically catch block will be executed. When exceptions are not raised inside try block, catch block will not be executed. That's okay. Good. Guys, now tell me, all of you now tell me, when finally block will be executed? When finally block will be executed? When finally block will be executed? Finally block will be executed in all the cases or not? Finally block will be executed in all the cases, whether we are getting an exception or not in try block. Whether we are executed this catch block or not, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Finally block will be executed. In all cases, whether exceptions are raised or not, in a try block, whether catch blocks are executed or not, inside this try block, no, inside the catch block. Right. Finally block is going to be executed. That's it. So finally block is giving guarantee for execution or not? Finally block is giving guarantee for execution or not? Finally block is giving guarantee for execution or not? Yes, it is giving guarantee for execution. So which instructions we want to execute mandatorily in our program, in our program, in our program, which instructions we want to execute mandatorily, which instructions we want to execute compulsory. Such type of instructions we are going to keep inside which one? Finally block. Which instructions? No. If you are using some resources like which one, files maybe or streams maybe, or next one database connections maybe. If you are using these things now, and which resources we are open, we used in our program, the resources we have to be closed mandatorily. Otherwise, some security issues or memory leakages, memory leakage problems are going on. So to overcome this, we must close these resources now. So the closing operation for these resources is mandatory. To perform these closing operations mandatorily, we must keep them inside like which one? Finally block. That's the requirement. That's the main intention of writing like which one? Finally block, guys. All of you understand this clearly. Right, so that's okay, good. Now this is like the flow of execution, but still and catch block and finally block. Finally block little bit we understood there, and catch block we have not discussed about this, and catch block few points are remaining there. That few points. If I discuss that few points now, we are able to complete this total point. And tomorrow I will discuss. Tomorrow I will discuss all the remaining concepts that once again try catch final. Try block we understood effectively. That's sufficient. Catch and final blocks I will discuss there. Then after that immediately I'll start with one JDBC. Right, sir. And come on, guys, and check it. And yesterday's class, yesterday that is advanced Java class was not happened. Yesterday advanced Java class was not happened. So we are going to within yesterday core Java class was happened. I think so on Saturday advanced Java class was happened. If wrapper classes videos are not required for advanced Java, guys, just I've given that allowed for a normal attending purpose only, not required. That core Java class videos are not required. So advanced Java videos I'm able to provide. That regarding these weekend classes are just we can attend for the classes. That videos are not going to be provided max. Okay, fine. Wait 1 minute of time. Now this is like which one? Um, right. Anything else can I provide it? Right. No, yeah, that Springer class, I think so. Our admin people are putting some stream, online stream. That's not a live class. That is like which one recorded video they're playing. And just if time is possible, just we can check once now. But I'll start Spring framework. Not immediately. In the future, I will start it. Yeah, right. Yeah, I will start. I will start Hibernate also very soon. 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Wait. Right, sir. Now these programs I will share effectively right from JDBC onwards. Each and every program directly my folder I will share to you. But as of now, just only theoretical content and little bit programming only. But we are going to see very good programming parts in the future. When I'm going to start programming part on JDBC, where we are able to get perfectly all these programs on a try block. Yeah, advanced Java class 730 is fixed, sir. No changes on it. Max. Okay, fine. You can check this content, guys. I uploaded our required content also. Right. Along with advanced Java, then after a few days of time, after completion of at least JDBC, we can start with Hibernate. No problem. Yeah, we can start with Hibernate after completion of JDBC, not before that. Yeah. Max at the same time, sir. Course timing may not be changed. Max the same time. I'm going to use. Right, sir. Max. Why? Because already we had that clear cut schedule now. Then the 7:30 to 8:30. Why? Because before 7:30, maybe 6 to 7:30, I have classes there. After 7:30, hybrid is going on. After this hybrid, I will start spring framework. So because of that reason, that possibilities are not available to change the time. At same time, I'm going to use. Right. Then both we can start. Once if we complete advanced Java, we can start hybrid and spring parallelly, or maybe one after another. Then as for the availability, we can start. Right, sir. Guys, and one thing I'm telling you, Max tomorrow link is going to be changed. Max tomorrow link will be changed. If you are getting any mail, we can use that new link. If you are not getting mail, try to confirm it from our office and we can join with this. Max link is going to be changed on tomorrow. Max link is going to be changed on tomorrow. Max, you are able to receive a mail. If you are registered with this course, you will receive a mail from Durga Sapno and they will send that link information to you. Yes, we can go for it. Understand it clearly. We can use that new link. Then tomorrow link is going to be changed. Then try to attend that class with the new link tomorrow. Okay. Today is the last class for these demos now. Tomorrow onwards, private link will come and we can automatically our admin people will share that link to you through email. Now try to check that email before come for the class. Right. Right, sir. Then tomorrow onward, JDBC will start, sir. Then the strike catch final I will complete tomorrow within 5 to 10 minutes after. Then after that, I will start JDBC. Tomorrow onwards, sir, advanced Java, JDBC will start effectively. Right. Yeah, tomorrow onwards, link we are able to get new link. That means tomorrow morning, our admin people will share to you. Before come for the class, try to check your email ID and try to come for the class. Yeah, fine, guys. That's fine. And we'll meet on tomorrow at 7:30. Thank you. Thanks so much.